You are listening to Single Smart Female, Romantic Fairy Godmama Edition.
This episode was brought to you by the Secret Society of Adored Women.
Have you been tirelessly going on crap-tastic dates, having crap-tastic results with men, even spending a crap-tastic amount of time weeding through meh guys and fretting over the one who won't call you back or commit?
Join us for our Hush Hush group of like-minded, successful, badass single women from around the world, turning the dating scene on its head and creating scandalously magical romantic experiences that you will cherish forevermore.
But beware, your love life and life will never be the same again.
Meet us over at thesecretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com. Hello there, single smart female. It is Jen, your romantic fairy godmama, coming to you today with an extremely fun romantic fairy godmama hot topic. What's the topic? Mae West's legacy for your Mantourage dating experience. Now, recently, one of my clients sent me a note saying, "Hey Jen, I know you love Mae West. You should watch this documentary called Mae West's Dirty Blonde," which you can find on pbs.org. And for some people, I believe you'll be able to find it on Amazon Prime as well. And I want you to watch this because there are so many amazing lessons that you can take and incorporate into your dating and love experiences that will take these experiences to the next level for you. So let's get started on those today. And number one of my favorite things about Mae is she did love and men her way. So the conventional teaching of society at the time and still today was that she was the ultimate Mantourage dater. And the conventional teaching, as I mentioned, was of that time and still today is that you're supposed to date one man and then you get married and then you live happily ever after. And all of us know that that doesn't work out the way that we think it's going to work out a good percentage of the time. Because remember, divorce rate, it's around 50%. So it's obviously not working. And then we have that idea, especially women, we're still being conditioned to accept that we're supposed to date one man, everything goes well for a while, hopefully make it to an exclusive relationship. If we don't, we break up, we sob, we shut down for romantic business for a long time, and then we rinse and repeat. And it's one of the most tedious and unproductive ways to date ever, which makes Mantourage dating so brilliant. Mae West, I don't know if she was original by any means, but she was one of the most public about it, and that she incorporated it into her life. And she was a Mantourage dater for a good majority of her life. Now, here's something to note. Mantourage dating did not mean, or for Mae West, it did not mean she had this endless stream of men just flowing in and out of her room. No. In fact, it is speculated that she had a very small circle and that she did have short stints of relationships. And that's something that you need to understand. Mantourage dating is not about the quantity. It's about the quality of the experiences multiplied. Okay? That is really, really important to understand. Yes, it is definitely about dating more than one man at a time, but it's not about dating an incessant amount or an infinite amount of men at one time. So number two, one of the most important and the sexiest attributes that you can own as a woman, as you become an adored woman, is a sense of humor. Why? Because as Mae West proved, comedy trumps all. And in fact, it's one of the best training too. And why having a great sense of humor? And that doesn't mean just making fun of your dates all the time, because sometimes we do that in order for humor, and then we repeat the same dates over and over again because we're only looking for how things can go comedically wrong in a date. We all know if you spend a long amount of time with somebody over the years that your sexual attraction will ebb and flow. But the shortcut to get back to the sexual attraction and for the reconnection and for long-term chemistry is one of the best ways is through a sense of humor. And that's one of the things that me and my husband have, and we have it in spades, is that we can start fighting and somehow turn it into a comedy routine. Now, you don't have to master that precisely, But having a sense of humor and not always being uptight and relaxed and recognizing that, life is hilarious. Many parts of it, hilarious, is going to create more space for you to have the relationship that you want. And if you happen to be funny on top of it, that's sexy. That is sexy as hell. No matter how our looks change over a lifetime. Again, that's one of the key factors to reigniting long-term chemistry. Okay, number 3. I think this might be one of my favorite pieces of May. No, I you know what? I'm going to say my favorite over and over again. Let's just be honest. This woman I love for so many reasons. Okay. So, but one of the things that one of her famous phrases that she's known for saying is embrace your curves because they won't be denied. Actually, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not getting that exactly right, but that's okay. In that day and time, the in factor wasn't to be super skinny or anything, but she didn't have the exact perfect hourglass shape. You could tell she had a stomach. You could tell, all these different things about her, but she was perfect. Why? Because she thought she was perfect. She loved and embraced her body, and she knew that men wanted her body. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the sexual part in a minute, but just knowing that and being okay with that instead of thinking that you have to somehow physically improve and change your body in order to be sexually attractive to men or to be attractive to men at all is ridiculous. Just right this second, yes, you can definitely take good care of yourself. I want you to. That's really important. Eat well, take care of yourself. But don't torture yourself mentally anymore thinking that somehow the only way you can find love or have great dating experiences is if you are a certain size, a certain shape, have the right ass. I mean, the collective idea of what beauty is changes from decade to decade. I remember growing up in the 80s, it used to be no ass and gigantic boobs. Now it's all ass, smaller boobs. Sometimes it's all ass, bigger boobs. It just changes all the time. So why get caught up in something in a narrative and torture yourself because you may not fit into perfectly? Just find yourself perfect in your body, perfect right now, and boom, all of a sudden, men are going to be wildly attracted to you. Okay? So number 4, be eclectic in your taste with men. So men do this very well. Men like, even if they say they like a certain type of women, they like all types of women. They're very eclectic in their taste. We are the superficial bitches. Okay? I'm just going to say that. I'm going to put that out there. I don't use that word often, but we are the superficial bitches. We get this one type in our head, and that's the only type of guy that we want, and that's the only type of guy that's going to work for us. Now, when I say eclectic, and I'm not even talking just physically, I'm talking about he has to have a certain job, as be of a certain, standard group, certain religion, certain this, certain that. We need to open our minds more to different types of not only experiences with men, but different types of men. Because when you pin yourself into that one type of man, and your love life's not turning out the way that you want it to, that's basically the universe telling you that you are keeping yourself from having everything you want. So again, that tunnel vision on that one type of man, whatever that type looks like, whether it be physical, whether it be job-wise, whether it be any of that, any kind of stereotype you put on the type of man that you really like, is screwing you, and you're really cutting down on the experience you had. Mae West, according to her, liked all types of men, domestic and foreign. And she made that very, very clear of how much she just enjoyed men in general and took men on her terms. Okay. Number 5. This is a big one for my single ambitious women out there. Mae West, go for your dreams. Ask for what you are worth. So we're talking about the glass ceiling that's above us all the time. You want to shatter that glass ceiling like Mae West did? Ask for what you want. And what I love in this documentary, how she talks about, let's see if I remember correctly, it was the studio head that was asking her what she wanted to make on that, and she asked him, she said point blank, what do you make? And he told her, she goes, I want to make $1 more than that. Bold was that? And she got it, by the way. How bold was that as a woman? And that's one of our biggest things as women, is that we are too scared to ask for what we want because we're afraid of being too much or being rejected. Ask for what you want. Ask for what you want. Ask for what you are worth. And it may not work out in exactly that moment, but keep working towards that. And instead of being angry and bitter about it, and all of a sudden, you're going to open up a whole new world for yourself financially and otherwise. Okay? And no matter what, don't let anybody stop you from your dream. Yes, you might have a fuck ton of obstacles that you have to overcome in order to get there, but that doesn't mean you can't get there. And it doesn't mean that those obstacles aren't the perfect training for the place that you want to arrive. So, with that said, go for your dreams. You deserve it, okay? And go get your money, girl. All right, number 6. I love this one. This is one of the things she did so well in a time that it was so frowned upon, and it is embrace your sexuality on your terms, okay? Understand this right now. I've talked about this before. Men want you. Yes, they want you. They want to have sex with you. You would be pretty weirded out if they didn't want to have sex with you, especially in the context of once you make it to a relationship. But we get so pissed off because they want sex too fast. It's fine that they want sex. Of course they want to have sex with you. Have you seen yourself? Why wouldn't they want to have sex with you? It's part of their nature. It's a natural response to your physical attractiveness. Now, instead of being pissed off about it, remember, you have to learn good boundaries. You learn how to handle that attention, and all of a sudden, game changing. Then you don't have to be upset with them, and then you're not having to put an energetic wedge between the two of you because you know how to manage that attention. And you know how to go to the next level with them and how to let that unfold and how to use that energy in a way that is wonderful for both of you. And it's not something you have to be scared off by. Reminder, just because they want to have sex with you doesn't mean that they get to have sex with you. That's your call, all right? So take that in, allow it to really resonate with you. We all talk about wonderful feminists, Gloria Steinem and all the major feminists, more modern day feminists. In my view, Mae West was one of the biggest ones that we can learn from. She loved sex. She enjoyed sex. She took that and male attraction, and thrived in being desired, which is something that we innately do when we learn how to use that. And she used it to her advantage in so many ways, but she really enjoyed it and took pleasure from it more so than anything. And from all accounts that I can tell, she wasn't sleeping her way to the top. She was just embracing her sexuality and embracing her enjoyment of it and using that to create everything that she wanted in her love life. Okay, number 7. Get creative in the face of adversity. So this was a woman who embraced her sexuality at one of the highest levels, more so than we even do today in many, many ways. And she was censored for it majorly. She was arrested for it, okay? And what'd she do? She kept going. She got more creative. She did more of what she wanted to. Sometimes when she got, smacked, metaphorically smacked, she found a way around it. She found a way to her dreams no matter what. And that kind of perseverance and dedication to our dreams is something we as women need to understand. It wasn't about getting angry. She still took pleasure from it. Yes, you can get angry, you can fight, of course, but sometimes the shortest path to your dreams is to get creative and enjoy the process instead of looking at everything as an obstacle. It is an obstacle, but you can look at it as a very fun obstacle. All right, number 8. I like this one too. Men will still want you over the years. Why? Because it's not based solely on physical attraction. There's so many pieces to attraction that we don't want to accept as women. It is about your personality. It's about how much fun you are. It's about, your level of comfortability in your body. There's so many pieces to your attractiveness. It's not just physical. Your sense of humor that we were talking about earlier, your ability, your creativity, your ability to have fun. It's about uncovering who you really are instead of staying in a stuck place of limiting yourself and hiding and not showing all these different pieces of yourself. We think of old age as, this kind of withering mode. And the truth is, yes, our looks are going to change. But that doesn't mean we're not beautiful. It doesn't mean that we're not attractive and sexy. And it doesn't mean that your sex drive has to go away either, which is something she still, as a woman, she was proud to show up even in her 80s and show that she was a sexually vibrant woman and that men wanted her. And the truth was they did want her. And in fact, it wasn't until her later years when she met what is considered the love of her life, which was Paul Novak. And they were together for 30 years, and he loved her all the way till the end of her life. And he was just madly in love with her. And he was 30 years her junior. What I think so fascinating about her is she didn't do her first major motion picture until she was in her 40s. That's pretty phenomenal. She was a sex symbol, from one age all the way. And then she transitioned her career and reinvented herself several times until eventually she was in Las Vegas. And still an amazing sex symbol then. And yeah, she did have some critics about it as she got older, but just because there are critics about who you should be as you age doesn't mean you shouldn't age the way that you want to age. So don't be so afraid of it. Embrace it. Learn the ways of the adored woman so that you can go into and enjoy every piece of your life, every stage of your life. And recognize that you're still a vibrant, sexual, beautiful, gorgeous human being on all levels, no matter what age you are, if you want to be. One of the reasons I don't talk too much about celebrities and their love lives and things like that is because, honestly, even with autobiographies and things like that, I don't think we always know everything that happens behind closed doors. We can only make certain assumptions. And as I was watching this biography, there were some things and this is the things I've thought about May for quite a while, that I want to use as a teaching point. I can't verify exactly for sure this is exactly truth for her and her life, but there's some facts that we know, and there's some things that we can deduct from those things. I can't speak to exactly how she feels, just how I gather from the information that we've presented with. So one of the things that I did see and that I don't really want you to do in your love life is I love the concept of Mantourage dating, really do. I think it's one of the most magical experiences that you can have in the world that really is game-changing for women and teaches you how to be in your romantic power for the first time. And it opens up things in the rest of your life as well. But I don't think you have to Mantourage date your entire life unless you really, truly want to, unless that's really who you are and how you feel most alive. I think that's okay. I do feel like May was, and I think it's from some of the messaging she got from her mother early on and throughout her life, I think she was afraid to really love deeply. And again, can't be for sure about this. It's just my assessment of it. But I don't want you to be afraid to love deeply. If there's a part of you that craves a monogamous relationship, I want you to know that that's perfectly fine. If you crave marriage, there's nothing wrong with that. I do absolutely 100% recommend doing Mantourage dating to get there, so that you really get all of the pieces that you need to create an amazing relationship. But don't be afraid to love deeply. Allow yourself to go that deep. And number 2, I want you to do what's best for you and your heart in your romantic relationship, not the ideas of others. For her, it seemed that, her mother had a huge influence on her life. And basically there was this underlying theme of, don't let men control you, which I think she did very, very well. But I think it went to an extreme. And I don't think you should let anybody control you. I think it went to an extreme that really played into that fear of being able to love deeply. And it's something I want you to be aware of in your love life. Now, number 3, according to May, she was basically, her public and private life were almost identical. She created this identity in her public life that translated into her private life. And there's nothing wrong with that, but always remember that we're multifaceted women. There's different pieces of us. So for instance, for me, I have a certain persona when I'm talking to you for the most part. And I try to give you all the different pieces, but I also have more. There's parts of me that you don't get to see publicly. Yeah, they are more reserved for my private life. And I want you to understand that that's fine. We do have different pieces of us as women. We aren't the same person all the time. And that is okay. I think sometimes it is exhausting to be that certain person all the time. I've talked to people, influencers and things like that, who've said, I have a really hard time in my dating life because I have this social media persona. And when I go on dates, the guys expect me to be the same way. I want all women to understand, it's not just for people of celebrity or influencer status or anything, that's because there's parts of you that you are not really owning either. And it has a lot to do with how we set up things and Mantourage dating and letting men see different pieces of us at different stages. So again, the point of all of this being, and I think May suffered from this, is that you don't always have to be on. You don't always have to be that public persona. There are different pieces of you that are just as valid and beautiful in dating and romance. And I will say a lot of times men get very nervous around women who are always perfectly put together. So if you have that idea that you have to be perfect all the time in order to get to get a man's love and affection, you are mistaken. You're very much mistaken. Even if you've had experiences with that in the past, that just wasn't the right man for you. Okay? And the final thought on all this, and Mae West talked about this, and it's something that I actually believe in quite a bit to a certain degree, is that she always needed to be positive and think positively. Yes, your mindset influences a lot in your life. A lot. But it is utterly, utterly exhausting to never let yourself have a dark or down moment. And I think it's not very realistic. Yes, do I want you to show up mainly positive and from a perspective, an empowered perspective? Absolutely. It makes a huge difference in your love life and your life, for that matter. But that doesn't mean that you have to have the perfect positive mindset all the time. You can work towards having more of it. Your love life will thank you for it, and lots of great things will happen. But I think it's really silly, not serious, but silly and not realistic to expect us to be. That's another way to have to be on all the time. And as women, we need to give ourselves a soft place to land mentally at times, and which is one of the things I help women do, because you need to be able to address the emotions you're having so they're not wreaking hell on your life and love life. And you have to be able to own who you are right now and who you've been so that you can transition into everything that you are meant to be. Which means it's important for you to understand all of the pieces of Mantourage dating and creating the love life that you want. Now, I think I love May. I love her sense of humor. I love her sexiness. I love all the pieces of her. She was phenomenal, and she was revolutionary in a time that we women were being screamed at that this would make us a whore, or this would make it so many different things, just inappropriate, vulgar, all those kind of things. And she was totally like, screw you guys, I'm gonna do me. And she made a significant amount of money off of this and created a life that she really seemed to love at the same time. But there are still pieces, like I mentioned, that I do believe she was missing, and I don't want you to miss. And so what I'm doing is I have put together a short video explaining the Mantourage dating lifestyle to incorporate it all so that you can really truly learn what pieces are necessary in order to become an adored woman and to really thrive in your life and your love life. And if you want to watch that video, you can go to Jen Burton, that's JENN, Jen with 2 N's, Burton, BURTON.com/Secret Society. And there I will run you through this video so that you have all of the understanding.
Thank you, Lover Girl, for joining us on this romantic fairy godmama edition of Single Smart Female.
Don't forget to text this episode to all of your single smart girlfriends, as well as visit us at singlesmartfemale.com.
We'll talk to you next time.
And here's to you having everything you want in life and love. This episode was brought to you by the Secret Society of Adored Women.
Have you been tirelessly going on craptastic dates, having craptastic results with men, even spending a craptastic amount of time weeding through meh guys and fretting over the one who won't call you back or commit?
Join us for our Hush Hush group of like-minded, successful, badass single women from around the world, turning the dating scene on its head and creating scandalously magical romantic experiences that you will cherish forevermore.
But beware, your love life and life will never be the same again.
Meet us over at thesecretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com.